I'm going to say something that's probably going to raise some eyebrows. What if Taylor Swift is one of the great spiritual teachers of our day? Now, love her or hate her, you have to admit that she tells stories through song that touch people's hearts, that motivates them to fly across the world to see her in concert, to buy 20 different iterations of the exact same album with different covers and different bonus songs. She motivates people to act. And the reason that she does that so well is she touches something really deep inside them. She is teaching people how to feel. She's teaching people how to name their emotions, how to connect with others through those emotions. And I would argue that there are some really deep, soulful lessons that Taylor Swift is able to convey in her songwriting, in her life, in her presence, how she interacts with people. And so I thought it'd be worth unpacking this a little bit, exploring a little bit today, how Taylor Swift might be the soulful guide you didn't anticipate. So hi everyone, nice to be here with you. My name is Kalen. I'm a spiritual guide and coach. I host this YouTube channel. I've written a few books. I work with people around the world. I host retreats, and I help people on their journey of coming home to themselves and living an exuberant, joyful, ecstatic life. So full disclosure, yes, I am a Swiftie. I do love Taylor Swift. I love her music. I have listened to every song on every album many times. So it's not something I've talked a lot about before, but she's really the only pop artist I listen to. The rest of my music is all like hammered dulcimers and choral music where people are just singing It's very mellow. But for whatever reason, I love her and I resonate with her music. And the big part of the reason is why is that she's a lot deeper than I think people expect. So let's start with the main reason people might tap into the idea that she is quite a soulful being and here to teach us things is her lyric writing. Her ability to convey emotional depth and nuance, to name feelings that you didn't even know you were having and never could have put words to, and to explore the human condition from a myriad of angles is unparalleled. If you've not really dove into her discography and especially checked out some of the more B-side songs that aren't played on the radio, you could be astounded by the depth of what she has to convey. So for example, one of my favorite songs of hers is from the album Evermore, Ivy. How's one to know I'd meet you where the spirit meets the bone in some faith-forgotten land? In from the snow your touch brought forth an incandescent glow, tarnished but so grand. And the old widow goes to the stone every day, but I don't. I sit here and wait, praying for the living. Oh, goddamn. Your pain fits in the palm of my freezing hand, taking mine, but it's been promised to another. Oh, I can't stop you putting roots in my dreamland. My house of stone, your ivy grows, and now I'm covered in you. It's this beautiful story about this supposedly woman having a lesbian love affair and being absolutely terrified by it. And that imagery of, you're putting roots in my dreamland, your ivy grows on my house of stone, my barren, empty house, and now I'm covered in you. Like, how evocative is that? It creates a sense of longing and nostalgia. Another really underrated song on this album, "'Tis the Damn Season." She talks about this young Hollywood actress coming home for the holidays and running into her ex-boyfriend and having this tension between them of, I still care about you, but I abandoned you. I still want you, but I can't have you because I made other choices in my life. And one of the things she does so well is she repeats the same phrase over and over throughout the song. You could call me babe for the weekend, and the road not traveled looks real good now. And one of the interesting things she does is as it repeats throughout the song, it changes meaning. It goes from resentment to longing to nostalgia to regret to realizing that this moment is passing and she's going to have to go back to a life she doesn't want. She says, I'll go back to LA with my so-called friends who will write books about me if I ever make it, and wonder about that only soul who can know what smiles I'm faking. And the heart I know I'm breaking is my own to leave the warmest bed I've ever known. So we could call it even, and I'll be yours for the weekend, even though I'm leaving. 'Tis the damn season. Like, there is an awareness of the human condition, of our humanity, that is beautiful and unparalleled. And this doesn't even dive into her masterpiece, All Too Well, which says, I walked through the door with you, the air was cold, but something about it felt like home somehow. And I left my scarf at your sister's house, and you've still got it in a drawer even now. Like, just even the opening stanza conveys so much information of memory, regret, longing, desire, fear, sadness, joy, all muddled together in this beautiful, beautiful way. This idea you had of me, who was she? Some never needy, ever lovely jewel whose shine reflects on you. Not weeping in some party bathroom, some actress asking me what happened. You. That's what happened, you. You who charmed my dad with self-effacing jokes, sipping coffee like you're on some late night show. And he watched me watch the front door all night, willing you to come. And he said, it's supposed to be fun turning 21. Time won't fly. It's like I'm paralyzed by it. I'd like to be my old self again, but I'm still trying to find it after plaid shirt days and nights when you made me your own. And you mail back my things and I walk home alone. But you kept that old scarf from that very first week because it reminds you of innocence and it smells like me. You can't get rid of it. I mean, the self-awareness of somebody who is so young, she was 22 at this time, that level of self-awareness and emotional intelligence is absolutely remarkable. And I'm a big believer that awareness of our inner condition is a deep spiritual practice. It leads us towards a deeper understanding of the world, our place in it, compassion, understanding the suffering of others. That when you know what you've gone through and you can name it and you can feel it, it gives you the ability to commiserate, to have empathy, to care. Those are profound spiritual tools. And so she is teaching people how to feel. She's teaching people how to name their emotions, how to connect with others through those emotions. And I think that is a tremendously profound ability. And I think that's truly at the heart of why people love her. Yes, she can write a catchy tune. She can create a hook that is amazing. Even some of her, most seemingly superficial songs are still great lyrically and really, really quite deep. But I think this is one of her great skills that indicates that she is quite the spiritual master. Another thing that I don't think gets quite enough credit is her ability to be resilient. Like, this is somebody who, yeah, she's on top of the world now, right? She is the most financially successful with her touring of any pop star ever. Her tour ended up grossing over $2 billion. And kudos to her for giving away so much of it. I think they announced that she gave away over $120 million to the crew and staff, people supporting the tour, which in itself, what a beautiful spiritual lesson of not hoarding, but paying it forward and being generous. That is a beautiful spiritual lesson. But you go back a few years and you watch her documentary, Miss Americana, she talks about this feeling of being canceled, that the media was constantly lambasting her as being manipulative and villainous, how she had that traumatic experience of when she was going up on the VMAs to accept an award, having another person come up and take it out of her hands and tell her she was unworthy. As a young person, can you imagine how startling that would be? That she went through this period of anger and rage and just basically gave the middle finger to the music industry, to the people who had wronged her, and said, you know what? I'm not going to take this anymore. And she did the thing that good girls are not supposed to do. They're not supposed to get angry. They're not supposed to be loud. They're not supposed to be rude. They're not supposed to clap back. And she did. And that ability to lean into what needed to be done, that ability to be resilient, to say the difficult thing, to do the hard thing, I think is a beautiful spiritual lesson. That ability to just say, you know what? I'm doing what I feel called to do. I am not going to be beaten down by life. I'm not going to be the victim. I'm going to take control of my narrative. In her case, literally re-recording her albums to recontrol the narrative. But to become this person who is a fighter and stands up for themselves and reclaims their power. That is a tremendous spiritual lesson. To reclaim our power is part of the lessons we need to learn. To not let other people step on us. To not be bullied. To not just be a doormat. And how easy it would have been for her as a young woman in the entertainment industry to just let people walk all over her and use her like they do so many artists, and especially young women, especially pretty young women. So I think her resiliency is remarkable, and her ability to triumph no matter what. I just give her tremendous applause, and it serves as an example of the kind of person that I think many of us can aspire to be. I also just want to pause these lessons here for a moment and just observe the emotional growth that we've seen her go through over time, because she's been in the spotlight now for many years. She's just turned 35, but she's been recording albums since her middle teenage years. And we watch her go from this innocent, starry-eyed young person in her second album, Fearless, where she sings Love Story, I'm Romeo, you're Juliet, and the world is just sparkling, to her maturing through every album. Moving forward into the next album with Speak Now, and we see a song like Dear John about John Mayer, which is so cutting and so incredibly emotionally intelligent for somebody that age. But then it goes even deeper when we go into Red and look at something like All Too Well, and we see how that heartbreak has deepened into this immense understanding of the human experience. She's become sadder but wiser through this experience. And so we then see this trajectory of her awakening to the realities of being an adult in the world, of what life is like, and then pivoting We see her go into her next album in 1989, and let's just look at a song like Blank Space. And Blank Space, yes, is of course a parody of how people saw her, but there's always truth in satire. There's always an element of that. And in Blank Space, where she sings lyrics like, "Darling, I'm a nightmare dressed as a daydream. I can make the bad boy good for a weekend. I've got a blank space, baby, and I'll write your name." Like, there's a level of jadedness. There's a level of, I'm going to act cool now. In the bonus album on that song, The New Romantics, "How dare you leave me safe and stranded? Isn't it romantic?" Like, there's this awareness, this worldliness of maturation, that I'm no longer this naive or very serious person. I've become manipulative. I've become a player. I'm not just getting played. I'm going to play others now. Like, it's not necessarily nice. It's not necessarily the most kind or earnest, but it's real. She's owning the complexity of the human experience. We take that further into Reputation. Look at the song Delicate on there. This is somebody who has been through shit. And she says, "My reputation has never been worse. You have to like me for me." We see somebody who is so fragile, but even in that fragileness, there's this iron strength. There's this resiliency. There's this ability to say, yeah, I've been broken. I've been bruised. I've been put through the mill, but I'm still willing to risk love. I'm still willing to risk connection. I'm still willing to hope. I'm going to skip over Folklore and Evermore because most of that is storytelling people's narratives who are not her own. So let's go to Midnight's Anti-Hero. "I have this thing where I get older, but just never wiser. Midnights become my afternoons. When my depression works the graveyard shift, all the people I've ghosted stand here in the room. I should not be left to my own devices. They come with prices and vices. I end up in crisis." Later in the song, "Did you hear my covert narcissism? I disguise as altruism like some sort of congressman. It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me." Like, this is somebody who's become incredibly self-aware, has realized that they have been the source of their own misery, that this is just, we just watched this arc and it's tremendous. This is somebody becoming more and more of a complex human being, more aware of the complications that live within each of us. And it's no longer just good and bad, right and wrong, but it's nuanced. And we see this take a step further with the Tortured Poets Department. And now it's kind of like this Devil May Care, there's rage. She's allowing herself to rage in a way we hadn't seen yet. It just becomes more and more human as she progresses. And that's part of why I love her. We see her emotional development. We see her continuing to ripen as a human being through each stage in her process. Other spiritual lessons we see with Taylor Swift. Hard work. She has the lyric, "I've never been a natural. All I do is try, try, try." She does not identify as somebody for whom this came easy. If you hear stories about her when she was a kid, she would practice hours and hours and hours a day. Her parents would have to literally pull her away from her guitar to go and eat. She is relentless at trying to improve her craft to be the best version of herself. And I think that is a spiritual quality. In Sanskrit, there's a term called tapas. That means the discipline we put into our work. And her work ethic, I think, is really unparalleled. She is always trying to offer her best and improve. Taylor Swift is associated with always being sparkling. She loves her glitter, her sequins, her gemstones. "Best believe I'm still bejeweled. When I walk in the room, I can still make the whole place shimmer. I am this glowing diamond." And I think I really appreciate about this idea is, no matter when life gets hard, no matter how much darkness sets in, to still be the light, to allow yourself to shine, to allow yourself to sparkle and say, I'm not going to be weighed down by this crap. Yeah, things are hard. People are terrible. Things are going down. But you know what? I'm still going to shine. I'm going to be that light in the darkness no matter what. And that's not always easy. You look at her song, "I Can Do It With a Broken Heart." "All the pieces of me shattered while the crowd was chanting more. I was grinning like I'm winning. I was hitting my marks because I can do it with a broken heart." She's not saying that she is always happy, that she's always celebrating, but she can, when the going gets tough, pull herself together. She can draw from her depths and allow herself to shine. And I think that's a beautiful message for all of us, that even in our darkest moments, we do have the resources to dig deeper and to pull through if we just reach for it. I think she does a great job expressing gratitude. If you watch her on the Eras tour, throughout every performance, she makes it about the audience. She makes it about them and thanking them and appreciating this moment. And, oh my gosh, you guys were all here together. That gratitude is something that makes life more meaningful. And yes, part of it may be a shtick to make her seem more likable, but it's a positive spiritual lesson that when we are grateful and we appreciate other people and we appreciate the moment, life gets better. The more abundance we have when we are grateful. I'm so sick and tired of how many people just complain about their lives. People who have so many blessings. When we can choose gratitude, when we can lean into that and say, I am so grateful for the life I have, no matter how much I have or how little, but I see the blessings. I've got food, I've got shelter, I've got water, I've got clothes, I've got people who love me and care about me. I've got an able body. Life is better. It feels much better when we are grateful than when we complain. And I think she does a great job of that. Lastly, I just want to bring up this idea that she makes life magical. One of the reasons people enjoy her so much is all of her Easter eggs, that in every outfit, every costume, every music video, every song lyric, there's little tidbits hidden about things that are coming and how it ties back to other things she's done previously. And it allows people who are Swifties to live in a state of wonderment and magic and seeing symbolism. And I think many of us live in a world that feels very mundane, very prosaic. But I believe in omens. I believe in signs. I believe in whispers from the universe. And seeing the patterns that emerge, seeing the moments of serendipity in my life. She gives us very tangible examples of that. You see Swifties online being like, well, 112 days ago she did this, and she wore yellow at this event, and there was plaid involved, which references this thing she did 28 days ago, and it fell on an eclipse, and it goes very, very deep. But what if we brought that same level of wonderment and curiosity and serendipity into our everyday life? That we saw this world as magical, as a place that is filled with connections, that is filled with symbolism, that we feel like we're part of a bigger plan rather than just fumbling through the cosmos with no one looking out for us. What if we lived in a state of wonderment? All right, so I've been going on and on for long enough about why I think Taylor Swift can be viewed as a spiritual icon. What do you think? What are some of the things that you've observed in her that has really inspired you or changed you in a way that is meaningful? How have you seen elements in pop culture, maybe not just Taylor Swift, but in pop culture, that had a deeper spiritual resonance? Because at the end of the day, something can just be commercial, low-level pop lacking substance, or it can be something with depth and nuance. And really the only difference is our perspective. Do we choose to engage with it as being something meaningful, or do we write it off as lacking depth? There is always something you can glean and learn from an experience if you pay attention to it. I personally think it's a lot of fun to engage with Miss Swift and what she puts out there. Maybe you don't, but maybe this gave you an insight of why people love her and how we can find something to take away from any circumstance that gives us deeper perspectives, deeper meaning, and deeper presence. So if you like this, please do drop a comment. Share this with somebody you think you'd like it. Like the video, subscribe, and turn notifications on. All those things help. I'm working to rebuild my YouTube channel after jettisoning my old one at 300,000 subscribers. So thank you guys for any of the support you can give. I'm Kalen. This is Ecstatic Self. If you like having these deep philosophical conversations around things, join me. You can hang out here with me. You can join me on Patreon. We can work one-on-one or go on a retreat together. Peace and love. Blessings to you. May you shine bright. All my best.